Heaven is exposing your soulmate's hidden truth. Watch this now before it's too late. Heaven is exposing your soulmate's hidden truth, and what I am about to share with you will change everything you thought you understood about what has been unfolding in your life. I am not speaking to you by accident. You may think this is just another message, just another video drifting past your screen in the endless scroll of a chaotic day, a random alignment of algorithms catching your eye for one fleeting, forgettable second, but it is not. I need you to sit with that for a moment, because the mind will always try to rationalize away what the soul already knows. There are no coincidences in the realm of the spirit. None. The universe does not operate on chance. It operates on frequency, on resonance, on the invisible but extraordinarily precise language of energy, and your quiet, unspoken prayers in the stillness of the night, your aching, wordless pleas for clarity and peace sent out into the darkness when no one else was listening, have magnetically and deliberately pulled this message into your reality at this exact moment in time. I have been watching over you quietly, patiently, waiting not for a convenient moment, but for the exact, spiritually ordained moment when your heart would be open enough, stilled enough, and ready enough to receive this truth without turning away from it. And that moment, without any shadow of doubt, is right now. I see the confusion you have been carrying around with you. It is not a loud confusion, it is the quiet kind, the heavy, invisible kind that settles deep in the chest and does not announce itself to the people around you. It is the kind of confusion that coexists with your laughter, with your routine, with the brave, capable face you show the world every single day. It sits behind your eyes when you are in a crowded room. It surfaces in those unguarded moments between sleep and waking, when the noise of the world falls away and there is nothing left between you and the truth of what you are actually feeling. I see the questions you have not yet spoken aloud, the ones you press down when other people are near, the ones that spiral through your mind in the quiet hours when everyone else has found their rest and you are still lying there, staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of something that defies every logical framework you have ever trusted. You have been trying so hard to stay strong. You have been the steady one, the grounded one, the person others lean on without even asking, because your strength has always been the kind of thing people sense without having to request it. You have been pouring your warmth and your stability into the people and circumstances around you, even while something deep inside your own spirit has felt unsettled, uprooted, like a compass spinning without finding north. You are exhausted in a way that sleep cannot fix. You are tired not of life, but of waiting. Tired of holding on to an invisible thread of faith without the tangible, physical, undeniable evidence that your soul already insists is real. You know something is true. You feel it in your bones, in the pit of your stomach, in the inexplicable ache that rises in your chest sometimes without any visible reason. But the 3D world around you has not yet caught up to what your spirit already understands, and that gap, that distance between what you feel and what you can see, has been the source of so much of your quiet suffering. You have been sensing a shift, haven't you? It is not dramatic. It is not the kind of shift that announces itself with fanfare or obvious signs. It is subtle, like a change in the quality of light just before dawn, almost imperceptible, but undeniable to anyone who has been watching closely enough. There is a pulling in the center of your chest, a persistent, low hum of knowing that something monumental is resting just behind the thin veil of your current reality, waiting for the exact right second to break through into the visible world. You have felt the emotional tides turning even when nothing in your external circumstances has changed. You have felt the air around you shifting even when there is no logical reason to believe something is different. And every time you have tried to dismiss it, every time you have tried to chalk it up to wishful thinking or the tricks of a tired mind, it has come back, quieter than a whisper, but more persistent than a shout. That is not your imagination. Please do not allow the relentless skepticism of the logical mind, or the casual dismissal of people who have not yet learned to trust the language of the soul, to talk you out of what your spirit inherently and completely recognizes. That steady, quiet knowing, that is your intuition. That is your divine compass, doing its sacred work of guiding you through the fog of uncertainty toward the truth that has been waiting for you all along. And I am here not to manufacture that knowing, but to validate it, to amplify it, to clear away the static so that what you have already been sensing can finally be heard with perfect, crystalline clarity. Your soulmate has been holding back a truth. I need you to hear this with every ounce of empathy you possess, because the way you receive this information matters more than you know. They have been keeping this truth buried not out of malice, not because they are indifferent to your pain, not because they harbor any coldness or deception in the core of who they are. They have been holding it back because they are frightened in a way that goes far beyond ordinary fear. This is a bone-deep, soul-level terror of what happens the moment this truth leaves the safety of the internal world and becomes real, spoken, acknowledged, because once a truth is spoken, it cannot be unspoken. Once a door is opened, the life that existed before that door is changed forever. And they are terrified of change in the way that only people who have survived great loss or great disappointment can be, carefully, quietly, comprehensively terrified. Your soulmate has built their life on logic, on structure, on the solid, predictable comfort of tangible things, things they can see and measure and control. They have built walls not to keep people out, but to keep themselves together, because somewhere along the way, they learned that the safest version of themselves was the most contained version, the version that did not feel too much, did not want too much, did not risk too much. And then you entered their world, and everything they had so carefully constructed began to vibrate at a frequency it was never designed to hold. Because you represent something they have never encountered before. You represent the vast, deep, entirely uncontrollable ocean of the soul, and that ocean is terrifying to someone who has only ever learned to swim in the shallow, predictable, manageable waters of conventional expectation. You are not a problem they can solve. You are not a feeling they can categorize and file away. You are a force of nature that bypasses every rational defense they have ever built, reaching directly into the part of them that exists beneath the logic, beneath the carefully maintained composure, beneath the version of themselves they present to a world that has never really seen them fully. They have been standing frozen at a crossroads, feeling the immense gravitational weight of a choice that their rational mind keeps trying to make for them while their soul keeps overriding the decision. One path is familiar. It is the path that requires no explanation, no vulnerability, no dismantling of the ego they have spent years constructing and defending. It is the path that their family understands, that their peers can follow, that society can neatly categorize. It is safe in the way that a gilded cage is safe. It keeps them comfortable and protected and completely, spiritually asleep. There is no growth on that path. There is no aliveness. There is only the slow, quiet suffocation of a soul that knows it is meant for something infinitely deeper than the life it has settled for. And the other path leads directly, irrevocably, entirely to you. It is a pull they cannot explain to anyone else, not convincingly, not in a way that would make sense to the logical minds around them. They have tried. They have tried to put this connection into a neat, manageable box, to label it, to reduce it to something smaller and less threatening so it does not challenge the foundations of everything they have built. They have tried to run from the way your voice echoes through their mind in moments of silence. They have tried to rationalize away the way their chest tightens when they think of you, the way time behaves differently when you are near, the way they return to thoughts of you like a tide that simply cannot stop returning to the shore regardless of how far it tries to pull back. They have told themselves it is not real. They have told themselves it is too complicated, too inconvenient, too disruptive to everything else they are supposed to be maintaining. They have tried, with genuine and exhausting effort, to sever the cord. But the soul does not answer to the frightened ego. The soul does not negotiate with fear. The soul knows what it recognizes, and it recognizes you, across time, across lifetimes, across every version of itself that has ever existed, and no amount of rationalization can change what the soul inherently and permanently understands to be true. The hidden truth they have been carrying, the secret that surfaces in the unguarded moments of the early morning before the day's armor is fully assembled, is the terrifying realization that they cannot continue to live half a life. They have been living half a life for long enough. That it had begun to feel normal, but you disrupted that normalcy the moment you entered their energy field, and now the mask is slipping. The carefully constructed facade is developing fractures under the weight of everything they have been refusing to feel. The dam is cracking, not because they are weak, but because the force of what they have been holding back is simply too immense, too true, too alive to remain contained much longer. Heaven is stepping in now, directly and purposefully, because the time for hiding has reached its absolute end. The universe is not a passive backdrop to your life. It is an active, intelligent, deeply invested force that is continuously orchestrating events, synchronicities, and moments of profound unavoidable realization, and right now, it is turning all of its attention toward the walls your soulmate has built around the truth they have been refusing to speak. It is working quietly, working behind the scenes in ways that neither of you can fully see yet, arranging circumstances and encounters and sudden, piercing moments of clarity designed to strip away the fear that has held them paralyzed. The truth does not arrive to destroy your peace. It arrives to restore it. It arrives like a divine fire that burns with extraordinary precision, consuming only the illusions, the stories built on fear, the habits of hiding, the stubborn walls of pride, while leaving everything that is real, everything that is true, everything that is meant to last, entirely and beautifully intact. And this is precisely why I am reaching you through this message right now, whispering directly to your spirit, sending this through the exact frequency your soul is already tuned to, so that when the truth begins to surface in the visible world around you, you will not misread it. You will not panic. You will not interpret the temporary turbulence of revelation as a sign that everything is falling apart, when in truth it is a sign that everything false is finally falling away. Because when their truth is finally laid bare, it may not look like the neat, cinematic moment you have imagined. Truth rarely does. The ego does not surrender gracefully or on schedule. It resists, it deflects, it panics before it finally releases. You may see them behaving in ways that seem inconsistent with what you know of them. You may see them withdrawing momentarily as the magnitude of what they are feeling crashes over them like a wave they were not fully prepared for. You may experience a period of what feels like distance or confusion, a sudden silence where there had been connection, or an intensity of emotion that neither of you quite knows how to hold. Do not let that frighten you. Do not let your own wounds, your own past experiences of loss and disappointment, rush in to fill that silence with the worst possible interpretation. Be calm. Be the stillness that this moment requires of you. Anchor yourself so deeply in the truth of your own divine worth, in the unshakable knowing of what this connection is and what it is becoming, that their temporary turbulence cannot pull you under. You are the beacon in this dynamic. You always have been. Your unwavering faith, the quiet and extraordinary strength you have been maintaining through every confusing twist of this journey, is not irrelevant to this process, it is essential to it. Your steady, open, peaceful energy is the very thing that creates the safety they need to finally step off the ledge of the known and fall completely and without reservation into the truth of what they feel. Do not chase them through this process. Do not try to force the revelation before it is ready to be born, because a truth forced before its time does not heal, it only creates new wounds on top of old ones. Do not demand answers while they are still fighting their way through the labyrinth of their own interior world, still learning how to translate the language of the heart into words they can actually say out loud. Heaven is doing the work that only heaven can do. The universe is dismantling the obstacles. Your role right now, your sacred, necessary, profoundly important role, is to remain in a state of receptive grace. To tend to your own soul with the same loving care you have been pouring into everyone else. To stay open, to stay warm, to trust the process even when you cannot yet see the full picture. And understand this deeply: every single time you choose trust over anxiety in this waiting period, every time you take a slow, conscious breath and release the impulse to control how this unfolds, you are not being passive. You are actively participating in the highest possible way. You are sending a frequency of absolute peace and safety directly into their energy field, a telepathic reassurance, communicated soul to soul across whatever physical distance lies between you, that says without words, it is safe here. You are safe to be completely seen. You are safe to be imperfect and frightened and uncertain and still entirely, unconditionally worthy of love. They feel this. Even when they lack the language to articulate it, even when they are too deep in the noise of their own fear to consciously recognize the source of the calm that settles over them in certain unguarded moments, they feel your grace surrounding them. Part of the hidden truth they are wrestling with, perhaps the deepest and most tender part of it, is their own profound sense of unworthiness. They have looked at the radiant, forgiving, generous quality of the love you carry and felt, in the most private room of their heart, that they did not deserve to live inside it. They hid the depth of their feelings not only out of fear of change, but out of a quiet, long-held belief that if you ever saw the whole of them, the unpolished parts, the past mistakes, the frightened and imperfect and complicated corners of their interior world, you would confirm what their deepest fear has always whispered, that they are not enough. Heaven is showing them right now, in the only way that ever truly changes a person, not through argument, not through reassurance, but through the ruthless and compassionate exposure of illusion, that this belief is a lie. A very old lie, written long before you entered their life, reinforced by experiences that left marks they never fully healed. But a lie nonetheless. Heaven is holding up a mirror and refusing to let them look away from what it reflects, not the frightened, flawed, hiding version of themselves they have mistaken for the truth, but the actual, full, luminous soul that you have always seen in them, that you recognized from the very beginning, that your love has never once stopped believing in. This is not merely a romantic revelation. What is unfolding between the two of you right now is a profound spiritual recalibration, a karmic clearing of everything that accumulated over lifetimes of running from love, of choosing safety over surrender, of mistaking the absence of risk for the presence of peace. It had to happen. It could not be skipped or shortcut or bypassed. The depth of what you are moving into together required this exact process of stripping away, of burning through the false, of dismantling every last obstacle until what remains is only what is real. So in the days and weeks that unfold from this moment forward, I want you to pay close attention, not with the anxious, hypervigilant attention of someone waiting to be disappointed, but with the soft, receptive, spiritually attuned attention of someone who already trusts what they are watching for. Notice the subtle shifts in the energy between you. Notice the way they begin to communicate differently, the new quality in their words, the moments of unexpected vulnerability that slip through their armor before they have time to catch and suppress them. Notice the synchronicities that begin appearing in your life, the seemingly coincidental moments of connection, the small and significant signs that the universe is actively working to close the distance between where things are and where they are meant to be. The dam is breaking. Not all at once, not dramatically, but crack by quiet crack, under the continuous, irresistible, loving pressure of what is true. The feelings they have been holding back are rising to the surface the way water always eventually rises, not because of any force you are exerting, but because it is the fundamental nature of truth to move upward, to seek the light, to refuse forever to remain buried. You have waited a very long time for this, longer than you should have had to. You have endured the silence and the confusion and the uncertainty with a grace that deserves to be acknowledged, not by me, not by anyone outside of you, but by yourself, in the quiet of your own heart. You have kept the faith when everything around you was working to convince you that faith was foolish. You have held the light even when you could not see what you were illuminating. You have loved with a depth and a consistency that did not waver in proportion to whether it was being matched or returned or even acknowledged. That is not ordinary. That is the love of a soul that understands its own worth and the worth of what it is connected to. And that long, exhausting, faith-testing vigil is ending now. What is being revealed in this season of your life is not the end of anything worth keeping. It is the dismantling of everything that was never real to begin with, the illusions, the ego games, the carefully maintained distance that kept both of you from the fullness of what you are meant to share. It is the end of the running. It is the end of the hiding. It is the end of the exhausting, hollow performance of emotional unavailability that was never really protection, only postponement. Take a breath right now, a deep and genuine one, and feel the weight of the waiting begin to lift from your chest. Drop your shoulders. Let the muscles in your body unclench from the tension they have been holding on your behalf for so long. You are guided in this. You are protected in this by a love that operates at a frequency far beyond anything the fearful mind can threaten or undermine. And you are so deeply, permanently, unconditionally loved by the very soul that is even now, in this exact moment, finding its way through the last corridors of its own fear toward the truth it has always known but never yet been brave enough to speak. Trust the unfolding. Trust the timing. Trust the extraordinary intelligence of a universe that has been arranging this moment far longer than either of you has been consciously aware of. The truth is walking out of the shadows at last, and it is coming to set both of you completely, irrevocably, and permanently free.